y'all, and welcome to episode 43 of the Crazy Sock Lady podcast. My name is Kay, and this is my podcast that's primarily about my knitting adventures and occasionally some crochet or other crafty bits thrown in there. I'm coming to you from Havelock, North Carolina, where I live with my husband, our 2 sons, and our 2 dogs, and we are in full gearing up for a cross-country move mode here in the Litton household. We have less than 2 months until we are moving out to Arizona, right outside of the Phoenix area. So it's been a little crazy around this house lately, which means that we did not have a podcast episode last week. And I apologize, and I appreciate everybody's patience for me to get a new episode out. Yeah, last week should have been recording week, but the kids had spring break. Eric left. It was his last week before he left to go for another trip out to Arizona, another 2-week trip. So he left Sunday morning to go back out there. So I just kind of took last week and I spent the week with all of my boys, and it was nice. And we'll talk more about why it was so nice and why I felt the need to do that later on in chatter. But you guys are here for the knitting primarily, right? So let's jump right in with all of the knitting goodness. But first, coffee. Out of my Needles Up mug for Maryland, and I cannot even wait. We have less than a month until Maryland Sheep and Wool and Maryland Needles Up, and I am very excited. Very excited. So, a little drink of coffee. Now let's jump right in. First, I want to say that you guys can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as The Crazy Sock Lady, and there is a group on Ravelry for this podcast. If you go to Ravelry and hit the groups tab and type in Crazy Sock Lady podcast, you're going to find the group there. That's where any knit-alongs, show notes, giveaways, all kinds of stuff over there. So be sure to head over and join the group if you feel so inclined to join us in all of the fun over there. And you're going to find down below in the down bar, if you hit, there's a little arrow somewhere down there. There's going to be show notes, links to where you can find me, anything and everything, times for this episode if you want to skip ahead to certain portions. All of that is right down below. So in the Ravelry group, right now we have 2 swapless swaps that are open. And I want to show you guys, sorry for the reaching, I received, since the last episode, last month's, the one that went out last month, that swapless swap. So this was with Clark and Elle. And this is what you're going to receive if you sign up for one of our swapless swaps. Not these exact colors because it's a different yarn dyer every month, but this is the package you'll receive. Has the yarn dyer's information and the colorway name. And you get 10 40-yard minis, which is about 10 grams. So right now, the one that we have coming up that ends April 15th is with muddled collars. And we have 15 spots available in that one. And then we also have Polka Dot Creek, and that one's due May 15th, and there are 17 spots available for that one. So if you're interested in those, the prices range from $35 to $45. It depends on your location where you live, where they're shipping to. So head over to the group and check those out if you're interested in getting some minis. I'm using every bag of swapless swap minis that I get. I make a magic ball with a magic knot, and they all go into my Bits and Bobs blanket, which is a pattern by Kay of the Bakery Bears. So I'm really enjoying getting these swapless swap minis and adding them into my blanket. Now let's talk about knit-alongs, because I feel like there have been so many knit-alongs going on in the group right now, which is always so much fun to see what you guys are working on, the pictures you're posting of your progress, your finished objects. I love getting to see everything. I don't always get a chance to respond, but know that I see everything that is posted, and I just so enjoy getting to see everybody's projects. So we had a Selfish Knit Along that ended March 31st, so that one is over and done with. The thread, I forgot to close it, you guys, and it stayed open for a couple of extra days, so props to you guys that noticed and got your projects entered the 1st, 2nd of April. I can't remember what day I closed it, but props to you guys, and those will totally count because it's my fault I did not get the thread closed in time. But that one ended, so we have prizes to give away for that. And then what I'm going to do, let me say this first before I go on with the other knit-alongs. I'm going to do a separate video for prizes because I have so many to give away. We're just going to do a separate video. It'll be easier on you guys to try to watch it and just see if you've won and get in contact with me sooner. I think that'll just be the best way to do it this time because there's so many. So look out for a separate video announcing prize winners for the Selfish Cow and then a couple others that I'll talk about here in just a second. And the video announcing those prize winners should go up shortly after this one. If the YouTube gods are in my favor, that will happen shortly after this one. But the other knit-alongs that we have going on are the Sock Crazy Cow for 2018. That's another one that we will be announcing prize winners for in the separate video. We'll do the first quarter prize winners, so January to the end of March. And then we have the Crazy Sock Lady Designs Make-Along. And that's a year-long knit-along as well. And we're also going to be announcing prize winners for that one for the first quarter. So 3 knit-alongs that we are going to be announcing prizes for. So make sure if you've participated in any of those, you head over and you watch that separate video when it goes up. The last knit-along that we have going on is the Bag Make-Along. And I am co-hosting that with Amber of Maker's Haven. And this is for any type of bag that you knit or crochet. And this ends the end of this month, so the end of April. So make sure you head over to my group if you've made a bag or you're going to make a bag. You've still got the rest of the month of April. I feel like that's plenty of time to make a bag. So make sure you head over. I've got chatter and FO threads in my group. And then what Amber is doing is drawing a winner from the hashtag on Instagram. So make sure if you want to participate on Instagram for the prizes that Amber will be drawing, you use the hashtag BagMakeAlong. All right, that's it for administrative stuff. Not too bad for 3 weeks gone, but that's partly because I'm doing a separate video with the prize winners. So who's ready to see some finished objects? Because I have a few. First one, I feel like we have to talk about this because it's what I'm wearing. I finished my Insouciant tee. So this is a pattern, I believe it's by Julie Hoover. My goodness, how can I forget that? Everything will be down here. If I'm wrong, it'll be corrected right there. But this is the Insouciant tee. And I did this out of Anzula Luxury Fibers in the Wash My Lace base, which is 100% superwash merino, and the Country Green colorway. So I'm going to stand up here so you guys can see what the bottom looks like. So I love this tee. It's got a split hem on the bottom. And the fit, I just love the fit of this. I think it is so comfy, so cozy, nice casual tee. The fit is wonderful. I love it's not too tight, it's not too big. It's just a nice comfy tee. So it is a pieced sweater. So you do the front, the back, the sleeves, then piece it all together. Not as bad as I thought it was going to be. Not exactly fun. I don't really enjoy seaming things together like that, but it wasn't bad. It didn't take very long. And then I love the neckline that you add on. And I think it's supposed to roll a little bit more. Mine doesn't roll that much, but it kind of pulled. That was my one concern once I pieced it together. The neck, it just seemed very open right here. But once you go back and you add on this neck band, I don't know what you would call this. You add this on. It kind of pulls everything together and it just finished it. I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. So once I blocked it, it did grow a little bit because it's superwash and that's gonna happen, but I think it grew to the perfect size. I am in love with it. I want to make another one so bad. I have another skein, just one skein of the Wash My Lace, the Anzula. I need 2 to finish it. So I've kind of been looking around on D-stashes and trying to find maybe another skein because I would love to do another one. Absolutely would love it. So that's kind of on my radar for dream knitting, is to do another one of these. It's just a basic tee. I think it is perfect for any occasion. You could dress it up, you could wear it down. So since I finished this, I've really had my eye on quite a few tees that I would like to knit. I have a lot of yarn that I could use. I'm looking right now over there. I've got a lot of Amber of Maker's Haven, 2 skeins of a lot of hers that I had anticipated I would make tees out of. So I think that's going to be a lot of this summer's knitting. Will be making more tees, things that I'll be able to wear in Arizona. I think that'll be perfect. And speaking of, Christy and Tristan of Girls in the Yarn Cafe are having a summer's knits knit along, so you can head over to their Ravelry group and check out all the information. But I definitely am in the tea knitting mood, and I have 0 on the needles right now. We're going to talk about whips later. We're going to have a little whip talk. It's going to be a thing in just a little bit because my whips are kind of out of control and I need to rein those in and focus. So we're going to talk about that in just a bit. But right now we're talking about finished objects. So the next finished object that I will show you is my newest sock pattern that is out. So this is the Butterfly Kisses socks. And the yarn that I used for this is Lay Family yarn in the Daddy's Girl colorway. And I feel like this is getting a little bit blown out. Let me see. I can make it so you guys can see it a little better. There we go. See, it's got a little bit of a slip stitch design here that looks like a butterfly. I really love this pattern. Brighten that back up a bit. It's another dreary day. I feel like every day that I record, it's yucky outside. So in Arizona, we should have great lighting all the time. Maybe too much lighting. But anyways, here is what the front of the sock looks like. And this pattern is available on Ravelry now for purchase. So there'll be a link down below to the pattern if you are interested in getting that. Super easy pattern, and I did include in the pattern picture tutorials, and there is a link to a video tutorial that I did on how to do this little butterfly stitch. And it's a very simple stitch to do and a lot of fun to make and see it come together and make that little butterfly. I think it's so cute. The last finished object I do not have here to show you. So I made my dad a pair of socks. When him and my sister were visiting the last time, he mentioned he would wear a pair of hand knit socks if I would make him some. So of course I had to cast him on some socks, and his birthday was last week. So I mailed those out to him, and I actually just got a text last night from him. I saw it this morning because he texted me when I was in bed, but that he got them and he loves them and they fit. So I'm anxious to get his feedback on wearing them because this is his very first pair of hand knit socks. So I can't wait to see what he thinks. I told him to make sure to let me know if he likes them after wearing them a couple of times, and I'm always happy to make him more. I feel like my dad would be an extremely knit-worthy person. I've only made him one pair of fingerless mitts before because I wasn't sure that he would wear anything, but come to find out he wore the fingerless mitts all the time and loved them. He's just not one to, he's very quiet and doesn't really talk a lot, so he's not one to sit there and talk your leg off about the pair of fingerless mitts that you made him, which is probably a typical man thing, I think. But if he loves those socks and he enjoys them once he wears them, I'm anxious to see and hopeful that he will like them so that I can make him more, because obviously I love making socks and I love making things for people, especially people that I love so much, like my dad. He means so much to me, and I hope he likes them so I can make him more. Now we have like all of the whips in the entire state of North Carolina to show you. It's so bad. First one that I'll show you is a new sock design. And this will be the first time I'm actually showing it. I've kind of posted a couple teaser pictures on Instagram, but I have not completely shown the pattern yet. So you guys are getting a little sneak peek here because it's not, the pattern's ready. I just have to finish knitting the sample up and get the pictures and all of that before I'm ready to release it. So here is the new sock design that I am working on. And I'll take it off and show you the front because I'm just past the cuff on the second one. There it is. See if there's a way to show you a good way. Let's see. Trying to show you guys. There we go. The front. Kind of hard to do. All right. There's the front of the sock. So it's got a little bit of lace down the front and then some faux cable type things going down the side. And you guys, this is my favorite design I've done so far. I just love that. I love the lace. I love these look like cables coming down the side, but they're not cables. They're so simple and easy to do. This, the lace going down the center, not hard at all. If lace intimidates you, do not be intimidated by this. It's super, super simple. So I can't wait to get this out for you guys. I just need to get this, like I said, get the second one done, get pictures, get everything finalized. So I'm hoping maybe sometime next week, but I also have a dilemma with this. I can't think of a name. So when I do my designs, a lot of the times I start with a name and I kind of know what the name's gonna be before I even finalize the design. Or like the Butterfly Kisses socks. These were so many different things throughout the process. I think it was like Ribbons and Bows at one point, Daddy's Girl at one point. So many different names went into that one, but I have no idea with this one. My favorite design I've done so far, and I can't think of a name at all. I don't know. So if you guys have any ideas for names for this, pop it down below in the comments. Let me know. I'm open to some ideas for this one because I cannot think of a name. I don't know why. So yeah, usually, I mean, one just kind of comes to me and it's like, okay, that works. Like the Butterfly Kisses one, it started out as Ribbons and Bows because I thought those kind of looked like bows. And then I was like, well, I love the name of the yarn, Daddy's Girl, and I'm a daddy's girl, so maybe it'll be Daddy's Girl. But then thinking that it was going to be called Daddy's Girl, I kept singing that song in my head while I would work on it, Butterfly Kisses. And I was like, that's perfect. That'll be the name. But this one just is not telling me what it wants to be named. I don't know. So you guys let me know if you have any ideas for names. So hopefully next week, this one will be ready to go. The yarn that I used for this, see if I have the tag. I think I do. Yes. This is from Denise of Yoshi and Lucy on her Isabel base, which is a 75/25 superwash merino nylon blend. And it's called That Is My Jam. That's the colorway name. And I love it. It's perfect. I love purple. So I'm not very far on the second one at all, just past the cuff. So nothing to really show on that one. That's kind of been my main goal this week, is to get that done. And I have this in my bag from Nancy of Laughing Stitches by NL. My sock bag from her. I absolutely love this bag. So yes, I need to get that done this week. And like I said, hopefully the pattern will be out next week if I can decide on a name. It needs a name. Help, guys, help. All right, next work in progress. I have such a mess over here. If you guys could only see, quite a mess. So I have this work in progress in another one of my absolute favorite bags from In a Pickle Knitting. So in here I have my Shusui Shrug. This is a pattern by Susie and Summer. And I've gotten a good bit done since the last time that I showed you guys. It's still pretty small because it's gonna be huge, so it's still pretty small, but I got a good bit done. And I'm so excited about how it looks. Is that center section just not so much fun? I cannot wait to wear this. I am so pleased with how these two colors are working together. I just think it's so pretty. So here's the wrong side. You can see the pink shows more in the brioche section. And then that'll be the right side. So I'm not a huge, lately I've been leaning towards pink more, but normally I don't lean towards pink. So I loved these two colors together, but I was kind of worried about the pink. But the gray tones it down so much that it is just the perfect mix of gray and pink, I think. The yarn that I'm using is from Christy of Yarn Cafe Creations. This is her Smoky Gray and her Thorn colorways. And this is my first time using Christy's yarn, and I love it so much. So I've been working on this quite a bit lately, and I talked last time about how it definitely is not for me a mindless knit, and it isn't, but I can say, because I've been kind of doing the same repeat for quite a while here, and that's getting more to where I have to check and see like, okay, am I increasing on this row, or what am I doing on this row? But there's huge chunks of it where you can just kind of look and see what you need to do. Kind of read your knitting if you're good at that. I can read my knitting and be like, okay, I need to do this on this row. So it's moving along little by little. I really would love to have this done by Maryland. I don't know what the weather's really going to be like. I mean, it's going to be May. I don't know. The weather's been so crazy everywhere lately. I don't know what it's going to be like really, but hopefully, even if I only get to wear it in the car and like around the hotel room, I don't know. I would love to have it done by Maryland, but we will see. Like I said, we're going to have whip talk here in a bit. Whip talk. Okay, so next one. Let's just go down the line here. This is another bag from In a Pickle Knitting. Guys, I just love her bags. Why is my screen so dark? There we go. Another bag from In a Pickle Knitting. Gorgeous. And in here I have my April socks. So if you've been watching for a while, you know I am participating in the year-long Desert Vista Dye Works knit along. So you knit one pair of socks a month out of her yarn. And I think you could do gloves too. I'm not sure. I think you can, but I'm doing the socks. And the yarn that I'm using this month, the colorway name is Fried Green Tomatoes, which I love eating fried green tomatoes, and I love the movie Fried Green Tomatoes. This was a colorway after the movie, and I'm such a sucker for that. I love getting them for the names. So this is where I'm at so far on those. Doing them 2 at a time, and the stripes are going in the opposite directions. I did that intentionally this month. Last month it happened unintentionally, and I loved it because I didn't worry about matching them exactly like row by row. This way they're in opposite directions. It doesn't really matter if you start and like this one has a little bit more brown or this one has more brown than this one. Who cares? They're going in opposite directions. So I think these are a lot of fun. I've been trying to do 10 rounds a day. So I use these markers. I get a lot of questions about these. These are just little light bulb stitch markers. You can buy them in like hundreds by the package on Amazon. So I mark every 10 rows, and that's kind of just how I can quickly count how many I've done, because I know exactly how many rows I need for the leg and the foot for Desert Vista Dye Works yarn. So that just makes it kind of easy. I'm almost, let's see, almost. I think I'll probably do at least 10 more rows and then put in a marker for the heel, because I've been doing afterthought heels on these. I just think those are so much fun. They don't break up the stripes down the front of the sock. I think it just works great. So I'm going to do an afterthought heel using the Kirby Werby video tutorial on YouTube. That's how I learned to do those, and that's my favorite method of creating an afterthought heel. So that is April socks. I'm happy with the progress on those. I'm happy doing them 2 at a time. And those I'm doing on ChowGoo on US 1 2.25 millimeter needles. And I didn't even say my Shusui Shrug. I'm so bad at mentioning needles. That's like the one thing I always forget to mention. What size needle is that on? My Shusui Shrug is on US 6 4 millimeter on my Haya Sharp interchangeables. And this little doodad is from Coco Knits, and it's just a needle stopper. You just put them on the end of your needle. They're my favorite thing to use for projects like that. So you don't have to worry about that brioche sliding right off the needle, and oh my golly, that would be a mess. Next whip I have in this adorable bag that a viewer sent me that I love. It's nice and big, perfect for a sweater. No zipper or drawstring, it just goes together like that. I think it's so cute. So in here I have my mix and match cardigan, which is a pattern by Mina Phillip. And I don't have too much to show you, but I worked on it over the weekend, so I thought I would pull it out and just show you guys where I'm at. So not far. It's a top-down cardigan. So I'm still doing raglan increases. I'm showing you guys it upside down. That's the top. Still doing raglan increases, but it's a moving right along. The yarn that I'm using is a Miss Babs, and I'll put the info right down here because I can't remember the colorway name off the top of my head, but it is a gorgeous shade of green, and I'm so excited to have this cardigan. I'm doing just the plain. The reason it's called the mix and match is there are so many different things that you can do with this. There's a different collar options if you want like a shawl collar. There's a patterned option or a straight stockinette. I'm doing the straight stockinette, and this is gonna be a little bit of an oversized cardigan on me. And I am really excited about that. I'm hoping it'll be something I can just kind of snuggle up in and cozy up around the house in. That's my hope for that one. I'm really enjoying the knit so far, and I'm enjoying the yarn. I'm excited. Miss Babs is gonna have a booth at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and I've wrote down a couple patterns. I can't remember what they were off the top of my head, but if I buy the yarn for them, if I knit them, we'll talk about them then. But I wrote down a couple patterns, one for a shawl and then one for I think a pullover or a cardigan. A cardigan. It was the Rose cardigan by Andrea Mowry. Total brain fart there. That's the other one I wrote down, to look for yarn at Miss Babs' booth because I'm enjoying her yarn so much. Next, let's show you that one last. Okay. Next to last work in progress is a pair of socks for Wyatt. So I have one done. This is Knit Picks Felici in the dark side colorway. And how fun is this? So you guys know, if you've watched for a while, Wyatt, my 8-year-old, is my most knit-worthy person in my life. I just love making him socks. He truly wears them every single day. So he deserves all of the socks that I can knit him. And a while back he picked out 3 colorways, and this is the last one of the 3 that he had picked out. So I have been doing so good making him more socks to fill up his little container that he has in his room with his socks in. But this one is probably one of my favorite ones. I just love how the stripe worked out, and then the black, and then they finished with the collars. I just love how they worked out. So Wyatt's socks, I do 56 stitches on a US 1 2.25 millimeter. And here's where I'm at on the second. Not too far. I mean, I don't have much longer to go though. His feet, his little 8-year-old feet, they go so fast. So really I only have to repeat the colors again. That's it. So it's going really quickly. These I usually only get work in the mornings on them. When I sit down after I get myself ready and I have a little bit of time to kill before I have to get the kids up and get them ready for school, that's usually when I sit down and I work on these socks. Some mornings I may only get a couple of rows done, but that's perfectly fine. It's a couple of rows that are done on tiny little 8-year-old feet socks. So like I said, this is Felici in the dark side colorway. And I think I'm gonna be good and have just enough out of one, because they're 50 grams. Because if you've never used Felici before, it's 50 grams in one skein. And I think that's gonna be just enough. I mean, you can look and see. I'm gonna end on the purple. There's purple. I think I'm gonna be good. So that's another work in progress that's moving right along. And this is in my bag from Tracy of Bags She Built. Last work in progress, you guys. And this is just the last one to show you. That's not the last one I have. don't be fooled by that. So this is in a bag from Twist Fiber Studio. That was a gift, and I actually saw in my my Facebook, where it kind of shows you your memories from this day, you know, so many years ago. I actually got this bag a year ago today from my friend Tori, so fun little memory there. But in here I have my, can you guys hear the jet going over right now? It's kind of loud. But in here I have my shawl for the Helen Stewart Curious Handmade Impressionist Mystery Knit Along. So if you are participating and you do not want to see, I will tell you when to look away. I'm going to show the yarn first. So 2 clues have came out so far. The second clue came out this past Saturday and the first clue came out the Saturday before. And I am happy to say I am completely caught up. I was like busting my butt the past 2 weekends to get it done on the weekend to try to stay on track. Again, whip talk, we're going to have that in a minute. I'm just feeling kind of crazy lately. So the yarn I'm using, I picked this up at India Untangled when I was at Rhinebeck last year, and it is Spun Right Round Merino Singles. And the colorways, let's see, this is Kathmandu, the Big Teal Wave, and In the Pines. And I have been saving these yarns. Originally I was going to do an oracle out of this, and I don't know, I really wanted to do a half moon oracle out of these, but they just seemed perfect when I thought about doing this shawl. So here are the 3 of them together. Now I'm going to show it. It's on a smaller, I need to put it on a bigger cable. So it's kind of bunched up because there are quite a few stitches at the end of clue 2. When you finish that, you've got a ton of stitches on your needle. But I'm going to show it now. So if you don't want to see, look away, I'll tell you when to look back. And I won't talk about the design too much so that I don't ruin anything, because I know I'm not normal in the fact that I'm done. Or, well, not done with it, but I'm done with clue 2. I'm crazy. So here we go. I'm going to show it. Look away. Like I said, it's bunched up, so I cannot really show too much. This is the right side. It's kind of where it's at so far. Like I said, it's bunched up, so I can't really spread it out to show, but I'll kind of spread it out right there so you can see what the design looks like so far. And I'm so in love with it. The shape of it I wasn't sure about because that's not my favorite shape, but I think I'm really gonna like it. And all right, you can look back now if you had looked away. I have put it down in my lap. The needles that I'm using are the called for needles, US 6 4mm, and I'm using my Hiya Sharp. Are these my interchangeables? Nope. Just some Hiya Sharps. And I've got more of the needle stoppers on there from Coco Knits. So that's the last work in progress I'm going to show you guys today, because all of these have had a little bit of work on them since the last time we talked. Now I'm doing the Yarn Hoarder Dishcloth Challenge, and I've been doing 3 dishcloths a week. I've kept up with that, but I kind of got them mixed in all together, so I don't really have the ones that I finished in the past 3 weeks to show you guys, but I have been keeping up with it, and I think I have done 25 or 28 dishcloths so far. I didn't start out doing 3 a week, and I didn't start at the beginning of the year, so yeah, I think I've done 25 or 28. I counted the other day because I'm getting ready to send out some to my mother-in-law, so I went ahead and did a quick count, but yeah, 25, 28, something like that. And I did forget to mention that I do, for all of my finished objects and works in progress, there are projects pages for those. Links will be down below, so if I forget to mention what size needles I'm using, since I'm horrible at mentioning that, you can head over there and check that out, see yarn information, all of that, and always feel free to send me a message if you have a question about anything. So that's it for works in progress. Now we're going to talk about whips. Like I said, we're going to have a little chat about works in progress because goodness, you guys, here comes another jet. I don't think they sound quite as loud on video as they do in my house. And this is nothing. Sometimes it's like, are they gonna land on the roof? Because they're pretty loud. But part of living near a military base. Okay, whip talk here for a minute. I am rarely bothered by the amount of whips that I have on the needles. It's just not something that typically stresses me out or bothers me. And I really think it's because I've realized I'm more of a process knitter. I enjoy the process. I enjoy learning new things, trying new patterns. So it doesn't typically bother me because I'm not one to just care about the finished object. I love the entire process of knitting something. So I don't typically stress about the amount of whips I have. Occasionally I'll be like, oh right, you know, that's too many, but it's not something that really stresses me out. But lately, and I don't know if it's partly because we have a move coming up and I know things are going to be packed up. I don't know if it's that, or I partly think it's because I've been wanting to design more. I would love, let me start with this and then we'll get into the whole design versus knitting other patterns. I would love to have the majority, if not all, of my current whips done by the time we move, which is less than 2 months. So that's probably not going to happen considering I have a cardigan on my needles, my shrug, things like that. But I would love to be able to do that. So that's kind of the goal that I'm going to work towards this next, this month and into May. And see how far I can get. See if I can make it happen. And then maybe I'll just have a couple of whips left that I can take with me in my suitcase and they'll be good travel knitting or hotel knitting and stuff like that. Before, while we're in the hotel waiting for the movers to get there and get into our house and all of that. But I would love to have those done and then going forward kind of rethink my process with what I'm working on and how many things I have going at one time. The reason being that I'm really, I think this is my main thing. Like the move, I would love to have everything just kind of cleared off and start fresh. But the main thing I really think is I've been designing and wanting to design more. But then I'm just kind of like, oh, there's other patterns that people put out that I want to knit too. It's like that, I don't know. But I want to design and come out with my own patterns, but finding that balance between being able to put in the work that you need to put in for new patterns, whether it be a sock pattern. I've got a shawl design started that I haven't touched in a couple of days. So it's just that balance between being able to put in the time that you need to put in on a new design. And then also at the same time, there are so many amazing patterns out there that I want to knit as well. So I'm struggling to find a good balance with that. So I'm thinking if I can kind of start fresh in Arizona, I can start with, I don't know how I'll do it, but maybe have a couple of design projects going and a couple of other projects going so that I don't have so many of each and maybe everything can get a little bit more work done. I don't know, but I definitely know I want to kind of have some whip control so that I can be able to design the things. Like lately my mind has just been so full of things I want to design. It's kind of crazy. I've started just trying to sketch things out and go ahead and graph them out if I can, just to get a head start on them because I'm like, I don't want to forget this. I don't want to forget that. And then, I'll get to them when I get to them as far as actually knitting them up. So it does feel good to have a little bit of a head start on those and to know that I can just go and, pull that out and work on that one that I've already gotten a little bit of a start on. But I just like looking at this like stack of whips right now and only one of them is my own design. I feel the pull to do that. Many of you are watching and you design as well. How do you balance that? Or if you have any tips on balancing that? Do you work on your own designs certain days of the week and then other things other times? I don't know how to find that balance. I'm struggling with that right now because there's just so many of both that I want to do. So yeah, that's where I'm at with whip talk. Just hoping to be able to focus and get some whips off the needles before we move. That's the goal right now. So I did open a question and answers thread in the Ravelry group. So if you guys have any questions, you can head over and pop those in there. And we had a question come in for the podcast. Let's see. F. Blackford asked, I was wondering if you use and or recommend Magic Loop for hats, or is it really just good for socks? All right, so Magic Loop, great for socks. That's my most used method of knitting socks. I love DPNs as well, but I typically find I knit with Magic Loop more. I go through phases where I like Magic Loop, I like DPNs, but Magic Loop is definitely not just for socks. You can use Magic Loop for hats. You can use Magic Loop for sleeves. You can use it for the body of a sweater. I've done that before for a sweater for my niece. And I think I did that for a sweater with Wyatt too. But yeah, you can use Magic Loop for any project that you're knitting in the round. You can use Magic Loop for. Now, it can, if you're doing it for a sweater, you know, that's kind of big. You would need a really huge cable if it's an adult sweater. But I think it's great for hats. I've done it quite a bit with hats. You can certainly always use a 16-inch circular if you have those available for a hat, and that just, you know, you wouldn't be pulling everything out and readjusting after every half round. But it's perfectly fine for hats. I have found if I don't have a 16-inch circular in the size I need for a hat, or for, you know, whatever the project may be, I will just automatically go to Magic Loop instead of waiting to order needles or something like that if I'm not in the mood to wait. So yeah, definitely it's good for hats. Like I said, it's good for sleeves. Anything that you're knitting in the round, you can use Magic Loop for. I would definitely recommend it, especially if you don't feel like going out and buying needles that are 16-inch, 12-inch, you know, whatever you would need for your project. Mail. I really don't have a lot of mail, you guys. I'm being so good knowing that Maryland is coming up and there are so many things I want to buy at Maryland. But I did purchase a Needles Up mug. Tanya and I gave our money to Karen and she placed an order for all of our stuff together so that we could combine the shipping. But I got the Needles Up mug and I also got the bag. Love it. Love these cute little sheep. Cannot wait. This is going to be what I take to hold all of my purchases in for Needles Up and then for the festival itself. So I did get that and 2 more skeins of Desert Vista dye work. Since I'm doing the year-long sock knit along, I kind of need to make sure I have enough sock yarn to complete the year. And I'm trying to decide if I'm going to do it next year as well. I think I might. I don't know. We'll see. I love her yarn. But I ordered the Stranger Things colorway of this one. And then I also ordered Phantom of the Opera because I love that movie. So yeah, these are the only 2 yarny things. The cup, the bag. You know, I did get the Swapple Swap minis that I showed you guys earlier, but other than that, this is it. So that's it for mail. I've been pretty good. But I'm trying to, because Maryland, like I said, I have so many things. I've started a list with what I want to purchase at like Needles Up and then what I want to purchase at the festival, kind of looking at the different vendors that are going to be there. Yeah, quite a list. I'm trying to kind of, because at Rhinebeck last year, I made a list of what things I wanted to look for. And then I also had a list so that I was specifically buying yarn for projects. Okay, I need this much for this sweater that I want to make, that type of thing. This is the weight yarn. This is how many yards I need. That way, I wasn't just buying a ton of one skeins, which are always great for socks, but I was trying to be more intentional. So I'm trying to do that with Maryland as well. I have a couple of patterns wrote down and a couple more I want to add to the list. And that way I can kind of go and have an idea. And if I don't find yarn for one project that I just can't live without, then I can go to another project and I might find yarn for that one. So that's the way I'm trying to look at it. and I cannot wait. Oh my gosh, Maryland is coming up so quickly. It's gonna be so much fun, and I'm going to Rhinebeck this year. So I had, decided I was not gonna go this year with the move and everything going on, and Amber wasn't gonna be able to go this year, so I wasn't gonna go, but I'm going. I'm going to be staying with Christy and Tristan of Yarn Cafe Creations podcast, and I cannot wait. I love those ladies so much. They are so sweet and so funny, and I think it's going to be the best time. So we have already booked our place. We got very lucky. I would say somebody had to have probably canceled their reservation for us to get this place, because we are in Rhinebeck. Like, we're in Rhinebeck. Airbnb in Rhinebeck. What? We got lucky, I think. So I'm so excited. So I'm trying to be good with that in mind too, because I wasn't planning on that originally this year, and now I am, and I'm gonna have to fly. Last year, we like carpooled up, but I'm gonna have to fly from Arizona to New York. So that's an added expense with the trip as well, because flying is not cheap. But I have downloaded, from Tristan's recommendation, the Hopper app. So I've got my flight put in there, what day I want to leave, what day I want to come back, and it's letting me know to keep watching it and what it should drop down to. If you, fly a lot, or you want to keep an eye on tickets, or whatever, that's a great app that I would recommend. I'd never heard of it, but yeah, I'm keeping an eye on the flight to see when it's going to be the cheapest so that I can get that purchased. But I'm so excited to be going to Rhinebeck again this year. I knew I was going, like, as soon as I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go, within a couple of days, I was like, you are really gonna regret that because it was so much fun last year. So fun to get to meet everybody. This is just such an amazing community, and to get to meet people that you only get to talk with online, to get to chat with them and spend a little time with them, not to mention the amazing shopping that is, Needles Up, India Untangled, the festival itself. I think I was really going to regret it. And Eric was fine with it. He's like, yeah, okay, we'll survive. I think they had so much fun last year when I was gone. I was expecting them to really miss me, and they did. They missed me, of course, but they did fine. Eric did so much fun stuff with them last year. So yeah, anyways, kind of went off on a little tangent there about Rhinebeck and all that I hadn't really intended to talk about, but now that's kind of, we're already chattering a bit, I guess, so we're already into chatter. But yes, last week was a boys' spring break, so we just kind of had a relaxing week, enjoyed hanging out. We went to the aquarium, which is about 45 minutes or so away. So we went down there. It's not a very big aquarium, but the boys had fun, and they have a really cool playground, like a little walking path you can go down outside, and a really cool playground set back in the woods. So the kids had fun down at the aquarium, and then we got some ice cream afterwards. And that was kind of our big outing for spring break. Other than that, we just kind of did a whole lot of nothing, really. But it was nice, and that was Eric's last week before another trip to Arizona. He'll be back in 2 weeks. He left very, very early Sunday morning. So I felt like last week was probably our last week to be able to really relax. It was, the boys' spring break. They had the week off. Now they're back in school until summer break. So I don't know, I really felt like, okay, take this week and enjoy it. Just felt like I needed to do that. So that's what I did. Enjoyed the week with them. And it was nice. I have zero regrets for doing that. So I apologize that there was not an episode last week, but kind of a sorry, not sorry, because I really enjoyed getting to spend time with the kids and just, like I said, enjoying my boys. Things are gonna get crazy from here until the move. I was thinking today, like going through my calendar and writing down things we need to do, and it's kind of all that last minute things before I move. You need to, like, I have an eye doctor's appointment next week. I need to do that before we move because I'm due. And just, I know when we get out there, stuff like that, you're not going to want to try to find a doctor immediately and schedule all of that. So last minute doctor's appointments, last minute vet appointments, because the dogs are due for their shots this month, just an update, you know, for their shots. And that's something we have to have done because we'll have to have that paperwork when we get out there. Like, it's just all the last minute things that need done. It's gonna get kind of crazy trying to schedule it all and get it all done. The move is just coming up so quickly. I feel like this year, I don't know where this year has went. It's just flown by, it feels like. So the move will just be here before we know it. It really will. Coming up so fast. But I think, kind of looking over my notes over there to kind of make sure I did not forget anything, but I think I've gotten everything. So I'm gonna wrap it up here and go record the prize winners video. So if you participated in the Selfish Knit Along, the Sock Crazy Cow, Year-Long Knit Along, the Crazy Sock Lady Designs, Make Along Year-Long Knit Along. Can you hear Chloe? She says, stop talking, stop. She's giving me a look like, really? Are you still talking? But yes, if you participated in any of those, make sure you watch out for that prize winner video to go up and watch. Let me know if you've won. I think that's it. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's episode. If you did, be sure to like and subscribe. It just helps get the podcast out there in recommended areas to other people who might be interested in watching. So thank you guys for joining me today, and I will see you again in a couple of weeks. Bye.